Good morning, guys. Welcome back or to the channel. So in today's video I want to go over something on the 6.0 here. So something I get questions on quite a bit and have for a good bit now, but that is, do diesel trucks actually get decent fuel mileage? Or at least this one in particular. And I would say it depends. So it depends, what do you drive? What are you used to? What do you need a vehicle for with daily driving? And all those different kind of things. Now, if you know, what used to be my daily driver was the old white truck over there. And on that truck had 37s on it when I used to daily drive it. 35s, 37s, 37s for a little while. Then, went from 35s to 37s and daily drove 37s for a bit. And it's on 37s now. But I used to daily drive that truck, and it was bad. I mean, it was pretty rough on the old fuel mileage scale there. 4.6, 355 gears, and 37s, it wasn't happy. But with this truck, and if we look, so you can see I've put 700 miles on the thing so far, right around 15.7. You can see we've run a little bit out of this tank of fuel so far. So I'm probably going to go ahead and just shut the truck off while we sit here, but figured I would start it up for that. But since we got the truck back, filled it up when it had 15 miles. So from 15 miles to here, it's been filled up 3 times now, 2 or 3, whatever that is. Filled it up at 15, filled it up mid 300s, and filled it up, 3 times. Right at around the 600 mark, a little less than 600, somewhere in the 5s. But through hill driving, lots of hills, because we were in Highway 7, some highway, just regular highway, little bit of stop and go traffic wise, just kind of all around. A little bit of idling, not a whole ton of idling, because it's now nice outside. If you can see 74. So don't have to let the truck sit here for 30 minutes and warm up or any kind of things like that. And we averaged on those 2 tanks of fuel, it was 36.13 gallons between the 2 tanks of fuel. One of them was 19 and some change, the other one was 17 and some change. So right over 36 gallons in, I don't even remember what the mileage was, mid 500s. We averaged on those 2 tanks of fuel right about 15.8 miles per gallon. And again, that was we did a lot of hill driving, driving through the mountains and whatnot on Highway 7. If you know, here at Arkansas, the scenic highway. So I'm sure that wasn't the best for the old fuel mileage, but this thing does very well. This is about what my grandpa's 09 F-150 averages, and it's a 4.6 2-wheel drive. This is a 6.0 4-wheel drive, and this thing has larger tires. They're not mud tires, but they are larger because they're off of a newer model truck. This truck, here's another thing, this truck came from the factory with 17s. That's what the speedometer is calibrated for. Now we have 20-inch wheels with a larger tire. The tires are about 2 inches larger than what came on the truck when I bought it. I don't know what factory size is for this thing. So that is another thing, is the speedometer is off. So if you take that into any consideration, we got probably well over 16 miles to the gallon plus, because with this truck at 55 miles an hour, it does show that you're going about 58 to 60. So that's another thing to keep in mind about this truck. And with the white truck there, when I daily drove it, was that truck was off really bad, and it is right now. With the 20s and 37s, that truck came with 16s from the factory. This truck came with 17s. Now, like I mentioned, this truck does have Platinum 20s and factory size tires off of, I think the guy's truck was a 2016. So if we come over here, you can see 275/65 R20s. This truck, when I bought it, had a 275/70/17, which is about 2 inches shorter than these are. Now I will look real quick and I'll see what gear ratio this truck is, for anybody wondering, and we'll continue. Alrighty guys, so I did some searching. In this truck, if it does have all factory gearing in it, which I assume it does, the axle code calls for a 373 limited slip differential. So a 373 gear, which is a little bit shorter than the 355 that is in the white truck. And then the 300, I think, has got a 280 something in it. But 373 gear, I'm going to say that's why this truck down low pulls like it does. Because this truck does pull very well. But 373s, and I also did a thing on your door tag, which is in between, it's on your pillar here between your two doors. Let's see if I can show y'all. Right down in here is your door tag with a bunch of different info and whatnot on it. This truck came with a 265/70/17, and I looked, and Discount Tire has a awesome calculator that'll tell you, you know, how is your speedometer going to be off, the tire size differences, and all kinds of stuff. It's very cool that they offer that, and I will put a screenshot up here on the screen from that with the differences of the factory size tires and the size tires that are on here now. Now, give it a little bit of grace, because different manufacturers have different tolerances in their tire sizes. Like for instance, the tires that are on the white truck here are supposed to be 37s, well, they measure out to a 36. So, you know, give it a little bit of grace there. But I will throw that up here on the screen right now. Okay, so while we had a break there, I also looked, and the other day at the second fill up, discounting the 15 miles off of the top of that, we had 564.8 miles that we had put on this truck, 2 tanks of fuel, a little over 36 gallons. But I took that number, the 564.8, and I figured up what would be the difference in the average difference of the speedometer. So it was a little under 1.1 difference. So at 55, Discount Tire shows that this truck with these wheels and tires at 55 miles an hour on the speedometer is doing 59.3 miles an hour. So, being the speedometer's off, the miles are also off. So I did the math on that, and it was right under 609 miles instead of the 564.8. So I then took that and I figured the fuel mileage, and it was just under 17 miles per gallon. So 17 miles per gallon in a diesel truck that weighs 8,000 pounds is not bad. Now again, mind you, the original 15.7 is about what my grandpa's blue truck gets, and it's a F-150 gasser, two-wheel drive, and this does better than it does by almost 2 full miles per gallon, which is amazing to me. Now, we do have to stop for fuel pretty often in this truck because it is a short bed truck with a 25-gallon fuel tank, and as a diesel truck thing, it runs out of fuel around a quarter of a tank. So we do have to stop for fuel a lot more often in this truck than we do the blue truck, but that is because, again, it runs out at a quarter tank and it's a smaller tank. I think that truck has a 27 or something other in it, the blue truck, that is. So it is what it is there, but I wish I could get a hold of somebody like Titan that makes the larger tanks for these trucks, but to my knowledge so far they don't make them, so it kind of is what it is. But right at 17 miles per gallon, if we average the the speedometer difference, so right at 17 miles per gallon, that is not bad. And I will put those calculations up here on the screen for y'all in case you were wondering. So what I did there was I divided the 59.3 divided by 55, took that number, or maybe it was the other way around, it gave us the 1.0 something, but I took that and then multiplied it by our 564.8, and then divided that by the 36 to give us our fuel mileage. So it's a bit of a mathematical thing there, since this truck, the speedometer is not calibrated for this tire size. I need to do that. I just haven't gotten around to it. At this point of filming, I haven't had this truck back a full week yet. So there's a bunch of things I want to try to get figured out with it. The AC, we have a death wobble now. I don't know if I mentioned that in any other videos. Got a bit of a death wobble when you hit bumps and stuff in the road. So I'm gonna try to figure that out. I think it is the ball joint for the track bar. We'll get that figured out. Not a super big deal, but there we go. So again, do diesel trucks get good fuel mileage? For my experience, yes, absolutely. This truck is capable of towing 10,000 pounds if you need to. I love this truck. Crew cab truck. It's 4-wheel drive. It's a lot more roomy than the white truck. I'm 6'2", 6'3", somewhere in there. And as you can see, I have plenty of leg room. I always just put my foot under the gas pedal here. But these pedals also adjust for the shorter people, like my grandpa. But I love this truck. I think we've gone over that several times before, but I absolutely love this truck. I'm gonna say this truck gets better fuel mileage than that car, because that Chrysler has the 5.7 Hemi, and well, it's a lot of fun. But anyway, I think that about covers it. So I mean, if you're commuting, you know, a couple 100 miles a week, a lot of stop and go traffic, this is probably not the best daily driver, especially if you have an office job or whatever that doesn't require a diesel pickup, obviously. But for what I do, what we do a lot of DIY stuff here at the house on vehicles. We towed this home a couple hours, as well as some other vehicles, and that's what we bought this truck to do. This is the designated work vehicle. You know, and after we get all the AC and stuff fixed, this will probably also be our travel vehicle, because it's nice and quiet. It rides very nicely. It's very smooth, being almost probably over 20 feet long. It rides very well. But anyway, guys, I guess that'll probably be a wrap for this video. Again, I get these questions all the time, and me and my grandpa go over it all the time, because he has been thinking about getting a new truck, because he wants something a little nicer, a little bit lower on the miles. His blue truck actually surpassed this truck in miles. This is a 06, his is a 09, and as you can see, 233,000 miles on this thing. It's probably a little off. Haven't put very many miles on this truck with the 20s. You know, maybe a couple thousand. So miles won't be too far off, but they will be a little off. That's just kind of part of it. But his blue truck, the speedometer is also off, and I think it's right around 235 or 236, somewhere in there, getting pretty close to the 240 mark. So he's been looking for a new truck, or looking at getting a new truck or whatever. And he's been talking about gas versus diesel, maintenance, because maintenance is a pretty good sized thing on these. For instance, an oil change. This truck holds, I believe it's 15 quarts of oil. Don't quote me on that. And then the fuel filters, you have to change more on these than you do on his truck, or at least more than you do on that one than you do this one. Because on a gasser, you don't have to be so on point with your maintenance and whatnot. But maintenance is a pretty good sized thing to think about when you are looking into a diesel truck. If you want me to, I can do a video on that as well. Kind of a breakdown of oil filters, fuel filters. Haven't put brakes on it yet, but brakes, it kind of depends on what you're doing. Are you towing, or are you just cruising down the freeway, or stop and go, or whatever? So brakes kind of depends, but oil and fuel filters is dependent on mileage, unless you get some bad fuel or any kind of an issue. But I can do a video on that if you guys would like to see that. But guys, I guess that's going to be a wrap for this video. So if you guys enjoyed this video or found it helpful, please drop a like and comment down below. Hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope everybody has a great day.